the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association because the Minister of Health, Kwabena Mintakando, has called for calm and urged continuous dialogue as the nationwide strike by nurses and midwives enters its second week, warning that immediate implementation of their demands could derail Ghana's economic recovery. Now, addressing a joint press conference with the Ministry of Finance at the Jubilee House earlier today, the minister acknowledged the legitimacy of the concerns raised by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, but cautioned that the financial implications of their demands pose a significant threat to the national economy.
Upon assuming office, we have, on behalf of government, engaged several times with the GNRMA to explore the best possible avenue to approve and implement the new conditions of service. While expressing our deep regret over the current impasse leading to the strike and the suffering patients enduring, the ministry states emphatically that government appreciates the invaluable contributions of Ghanaian nurses and midwives to the development of the health sector. Government remains committed to the needed engagement that will lead to the approval and implementation of the new conditions of service for nurses and midwives. Accordingly, government has directed the Minister of Finance and the Fair Wages and Salary Commission to, as a matter of urgency, lead the development of a roadmap to ensure a smooth implementation of the process. We engage the leadership of all Nurses and Midwives Association within the health sector on 30th May 2025 to address their challenges and discuss the subsequent roadmap leading to the implementation of the new conditions of service. Fortunately, the other associations supported my intervention, with the exception of the GRNMA, which declined and proceeded to declare the strike on the 2nd of June 2025, despite the NLC caution. The National Labour Commission on Thursday, 5th June 2025, summoned all stakeholders to an emergency meeting to address the matter. However, the GRNMA failed to attend the meeting. Consequently, the NLC was compelled to take legal steps to declare the strike illegal and called on the GRNMA to immediately call it off in line with law. Yesterday, Monday, 9th June 2025, we invited the Fair Wages and Salary Commission to engage the GRMA, the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Health to deliberate on roadmap for the successful implementation of the new conditions of service. At the meeting, the Fair Wages and Salary Commission once again, in accordance with law, directed the GRNMA to call off the strike to allow negotiations to continue. Government wishes to stress its readiness to further engage with a view to implementing the conditions of service in a manner that does not dislocate the national budget. We wish to draw attention to the fact that the conditions of service under reference are not captured in the 2025 budget and will completely throw the economy off gear if implemented immediately in the manner it currently exists. We are mindful of the serious economic consequences of unbudgeted expenditure and want to avoid the economic slippages that led to the hardship in the recent past. Government commits to continue to engage with the nurses in order to achieve a mutually acceptable outcome in the interest of the public.
Now, on his part, the Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyakwam has reiterated the ministry's commitment to sit with the aggrieved nurses to find a solution to the current problem.
To show our commitment to help in resolving this important issue, because our nurses are very, very critical to healthcare delivery, and we appreciate what they do. But the reality is that we have over 120,000 nurses, and the implementation of the current condition of service that they are demanding will have serious consequences for the budget. In fact, if we fully implement it, we are going to add in excess of 2 billion cedis to the compensation budget. We have all committed that in our resolve to reset the economy of this country, we must maintain a 1.5% primary balance surplus every year in order to bring our debt levels to sustainable levels. And so it is important for us to manage expenditure. And so we want to appeal to our revered nurses that we are willing to negotiate, to sit with them and the Ministry of Health to agree on a roadmap that will help us incorporate what can be accommodated in the budget for next year. And we believe that they have all seen the hard work we are all doing to manage the economy better. We want to appeal to them that they should let us sit down and discuss what can be accommodated so that we can all have a win-win situation for all of us. Thank you.
So there you had the Health Minister and the Deputy Finance Minister speaking earlier today at the Jubilee House. Let's now speak to Tinedu Ebenezer. He is Secretary for the Preventive Health Nurses Society, Ghana, one of the unions under the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us here on the news update. You've heard from the authorities, from the Health Minister and also the Deputy Finance Minister, and they are saying that they are willing to sit and negotiate and resolve this issue. The Health Minister also says that, you know what, we understand this is what has taken place, but the impact thereof on the economy would be very, very, dire. What do you say to this? Hello, Ebenezer. Okay, so we're still working on that. I think we had a technical bit with the Zoom in there. We're speaking to Ebenezer Tinedu and get to understand from him also what they think of what the Health Minister and the Deputy Finance Minister talked about earlier today. We have him back on Zoom. Thank you very much, Ebenezer, for joining us once again. I was saying that you've heard from the Health Minister, from the Deputy Finance Minister, and they said that they are ready to sit down with you to negotiate and resolve this issue, but also implementing this will come at a great cost for the country. What do you say to that? Hello, Ebenezer. We're unable to hear you. If you can unmute so we can hear you clearly. Hello, Ebenezer. Okay, so we're trying to connect with Ebenezer Tinedu and speak to him about the ongoing strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Now, looking at the impact of this strike, Metro News team visited the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, and this was the situation.
The strike, which began in phases on June 2, 2025, escalated on June 9 with a complete withdrawal of services. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, is protesting the delayed implementation of the 2024 collective agreement, which governs salaries, allowances, and working conditions. The association claims the government's stance during negotiations violates Act 651 of the Labour Law, which mandates good faith in negotiations, despite an interim injunction secured by the National Labour Commission to restrain the GRNMA from laying down their tools. The nurses have carried through their plan, bringing healthcare services to a halt at many public health facilities. On Monday, June 9, 2025, patients at the Ridge Hospital were left stranded due to the strike despite needing urgent care. They spoke to Metro News.
I just grateful that there were a few doctors who were attending to some patients, and therefore we are waiting to get to attend and then receive the doctors. But yet, against that is so bad nurses are not here because they have to take our vitals before we see the doctors. Doctors are not nurses for Juma. Check here,
As a to a joint after number to pursue a they pursue them one by one.
Send an essay on Conessa and what is a month for so yari. Obin to me Fifi say me ba hospital. This all yari answer. Say yari so and yes, serious and the Pablo and Yadi of the
Public Relations Officer of the Ridge Hospital, Juliana Haruna, shared with the news team the impact of the strike on the operations of the hospital.
The doctors are working. You can see some of the doctors have stepped in. They are doing their best. But the truth is they are overwhelmed because the workload has now increased. For them to check vitals and also attend to the patients at the same time, giving medication and all that, the workload has increased. That's what I can say. So we are pleading with the two parties to come into an agreement so we can have our nurses back.
Meanwhile, the GRNMA has warned that the strike will continue until their demands are met.
So that's the situation at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. I will now go back onto the phone lines now and speak to Ebenezer Tinedu, who is part of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association, who are on strike and has entered the second week. Hello again. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I was asking that you heard from the Health Minister and the Deputy Finance Minister. What do you have to say about the presser that was held today?
Okay, thank you very much. We are most grateful to you, the media, and to every well-meaning Ghanaian listening to me this afternoon. I heard what the minister actually said, and same has been that of the finance minister. But I will say that it is not as though we do not have sympathy on this country. We do not have sympathy on the economic status of the country, or we do not have sympathy for the patients that we care for. But sincerely, the nursing and midwifery fraternity has been downplayed for quite some time now. And I will not talk about this government alone, but all the successive governments. They have actually undermined the integrity of our profession. And I am saying this because if you look at the conditions of service for Ghanaian nurses and midwives, it is very, very appalling. In fact, some of the items that we are demanding for are not even monetary. After every year, we have to renew our license to practice as professionals. This we negotiated, and government said, okay, I will pay for your renewal, which is at a cost of 71 Ghana cedis for a whole year. In fact, we negotiated for uniform allowance, which is worth 1,000 Ghana cedis. This uniform allowance, my brother, if you are to sew a uniform, look at the cost of material alone and then the workmanship. You cannot even wear the same uniform for a whole year. You have to get yourself at least 2 or 3, for which the 1,000 Ghana cedi is not even enough. So the things we are demanding for are not outrageous. They are not things that is beyond the economy as they are preaching. They may be spearheading these activities, but we also know that these are basic items that we deserve. Look at me as a nurse. If I am sick right now and I do not provide full payment of whatever I am to go through, whether surgery, treatment, or whatever, then I will not be cared for. Imagine me as a nurse caring for people in that regard, and then I cannot receive same treatment when I'm unwell. But looking at the environment that we operate, we are at risk of all these injuries and hazards that comes with our occupation.
Okay.
So if we are also demanding that, okay, if we are unwell through the work that we do, government should take care of us. Is this too much to ask for?
Okay.
These are basic things that every profession needs to have. And that is what we are demanding for. Nothing outrageous. So I am very surprised at the position of government right now, I mean the employer, because we do not necessarily deal with government, but we deal with the employer. And the employer knows that these are responsibilities.
And Ebenezer, that is the health ministry, right? And the health minister says that, well, we do understand your concerns. We'd have to sit and sort this issue out. Are you ready to negotiate with the ministry? The deputy finance minister also mentioned that. Are you ready to sit with them, negotiate, and resolve this issue as soon as possible?
Okay, thank you very much. The issue with negotiation, I don't even understand where negotiation comes in here, because what we are talking about is an issue that has already been negotiated and signed. The only thing left on that particular document is approval from the Ministry of Finance. So once the approval comes, then we know that we are entitled to whatever is in the document. Then we sit down and look at the modalities through which we'll be able to implement these things. But now, if we are to sit and negotiate again, then we don't know what we are driving home. Looking at their position right now, it means that they are unwilling to fulfill some of the agreements that we've already made. And these are gains that we've already made. These documents that we are talking about has been signed by our unions, has also been signed by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, as well as the employer, which is Ministry of Health. So to sit and negotiate, this one is something that I don't even get it when they are talking about renegotiation.
Again, Ebenezer, the deputy, that is the finance minister, mentions that there are about 120,000 of you. And if they go by the agreement that was made last year in May, that was set to take place or come into implementation in June 2024, there are going to be dire economic consequences. I'm not thinking about that also, that it will be better to go to the negotiation table, sit with them, and find out, okay, we can do this for you now, but maybe next year, as he mentioned, maybe the next year budget can cater for some of these things. Is that not a proper way of solving the issue and making sure that people's lives are okay in the hospitals, that you're going back to take care of people? Is that not just the right way to go?
Thank you very much. As I rightly said earlier, we love our patients and we really want to care for them. But in this instance, who cares for the caregiver? These are some of the things that we are talking about. So we understand that the issue has some economic diocese. We agree to that. But then also, all the other groups that negotiated with governments are already enjoying their condition of service, excluding nurses and midwives. That is unfair treatment on the part of the employer when it comes to nurses and midwives. And that is the agitation. That is the reason why we think that extending this time is not something that is actually going to benefit the ordinary nurse, because we also deserve it. And mind you, this particular document we are talking about has an expiry date, for which next year, May, as we are speaking, next year, 2026 May, the document will be expired. This is a living document we are talking about. So by next year, May, it might have been expired, meaning that any agreement that was in there is no more relevant and cannot be used.
Okay.
That is the more reason why we also insist that government or the employer should look at modalities to implement it now, so that at least we can also benefit before the document expires.
Ebenezer, wrapping up on this, so you're saying you are not going back to work until when?
Yes. So basically, I am saying that we are not going back to work until the Minister for Finance approves the already agreed condition of service. Then we can form the committee, we can sit down, discuss modalities or roadmap to its implementation. Then we can resume to work. I can assure you that even if today, as we are speaking, the finance minister approves the documents, we are returning back to work.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ebenezer Tenedu. Thank you very much for speaking to us. So there you heard him, that they are not ready to negotiate. All they are looking forward to is that there should be approval of that agreement that was made, that was last year in May 2024. Staying on this story, I'll bring you more details of that subsequently. Now, away from that, commercial transport operators have suspended their planned nationwide strike, which was scheduled to take place on Tuesday, that is today, June 10, 2025. The driver unions had intended to withdraw the services in protest against the recently introduced Ghana cedi levy on petroleum products. And however, following a meeting with officials from the Ministry of Transport, the unions agreed to suspend the action. According to Samuel Amwa, Deputy Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, the government assured them that the levy will not lead to an increase in fuel prices. And now to one of our headline stories for the day about the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, Good Morning Ghana, earlier today, the communications team member of the National Democratic Congress, Hamza Sunyini, says the former Finance Minister must be made to face the law if found guilty of the charges against him. Speaking on the show, he added that it would be in his best interest to appear and answer questions at the office of the special prosecutor rather than hiding and giving excuses that he's unwell. However, communications team member for the NPP, Kofi Tonto, says while he believes Ken Ofori-Atta should be made to face the law if found guilty, the OSP should go to court if they have any evidence against him instead of showing bravado.
I give basis of the unethical conduct of Nana-Addo and his family in government. Their obsession with stealing our meager resources to a point that even your own members of parliament called for the head of Ken Ofori-Atta. And I said that it is strange that even in opposition, the family is beginning to rear its head again under the guise of defending the gentleman. And I proceeded to caution that as a country, we should be careful not to give an indication that when it comes to our laws, certain individuals are special. And I proceeded to give examples of people even in terrible and far worse health circumstances who appeared before our investigative bodies, appeared before our law courts on the basis of our law. And that Ken should not be treated as an exception, as somebody special. If the likes of William Tevi and Dr. Animana in their state appeared before our investigative bodies and our law courts, then there is no justification for us to treat Ken specially. And I proceeded to conclude that it is on the basis of that that I find his demand that the investigations be done via online unacceptable. And if for anything at all, I express my doubts about his health condition and how that incapacitates him from traveling to the country to face our investigative bodies. And for me, I said it was a ruse. And I still maintain that the so-called health excuse is a ruse intended for the #1 fugitive in our country since 1992.
So if you bring Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana, for example, Ken Ofori-Atta has a right not to utter a word. Okay? He has a right not to say a word. So it behooves on the OSP to have tight-lipped evidence, bring it to court, and prosecute him.
So on this issue, the minister or the former finance minister's family has called for the immediate withdrawal of the Interpol Red Alert notice issued by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The statement issued on June 10 follows the OSP's latest declaration of Ken Ofori-Atta as a wanted person despite his ongoing cancer treatment in the United States. The family revealed that Ken Ofori-Atta had been cooperating with the OSP, offering to participate in a video-recorded interview due to his health condition. The statement from the family said medical reports from the Mayo Clinic confirmed that the former minister is undergoing cancer treatment, including surgery scheduled for June 13, 2025. According to the family, the OSP disregarded due process by issuing an Interpol Red notice and procuring an arrest warrant under what they described as unusual circumstances, lacking a filed affidavit. They said the only charge listed on the warrant is using public office for private profits. A human rights court ruling on the matter is expected on June 18, 2025. Meanwhile, Mr. Ofori-Atta's legal team has petitioned Interpol's Commission for the Control of Files to remove the red notice, questioning whether all relevant information, including his health status and pending court rulings, were disclosed. The family closed their statement with confidence in the judicial process, asserting that Mr. Ofori-Atta will return to Ghana after his recovery to face the allegations in person. Away from that, let's do some health. And the president of the Ophthalmology Society of Ghana, Dr. Jifa Bella Imelda Ofori-Atta, has emphasized the urgent need for regular eye checkups, warning that glaucoma remains the leading cause of irreversible blindness in Ghana. She said many individuals are usually unaware they have the condition until it has worsened. There's more in this report. Dr. Ofori-Atta was speaking at the official launch of the Twin Star Selective Laser Trabeculoplasty Combo Machine at the St. Thomas Eye Hospital. The machine, which is an advanced laser treatment for the eye, not only reduces intraocular pressure on the eye, but also improves patient adherence to minimizing dependence on daily eye drops. Dr. Ofori-Atta hailed the technology as a game changer in the fight against glaucoma, adding that it's a cost-effective long-term solution, especially for early to moderate stages of the disease. She urged Ghanaians to prioritize regular eye checkups.
Yenim se Ghana ye kuba kwa before more glaucoma edosu pa worldwide no ye number 2. Na glaucoma no one of the only ways I yetumi manage no say ye behwe pressure, eye pressure no eno nye blood pressure na ewo eninum no obonye fe no intraocular pressure. See ye betumi lower intraocular pressure and any one of the ways of preventing blindness and the progression of the disease no.
The executive director and founder of St. Thomas Eye Hospital, Dr. Michael Ekoba JC, said the equipment will help provide quality health care to Ghanaians.
The one we are launching today is probably the first in Ghana with a combo laser. A combo laser has a YAG laser inside an L30 laser. YAG laser is used for managing one of the most common glaucoma, one of the commonest glaucomas that we have. That's the angle closure. And the S30 is well known all over the world for managing open angle glaucoma with very high success rates.
The new SLT machine, now globally recognized as a safe, non-invasive first-line treatment, is expected to significantly enhance the management of glaucoma in Ghana, helping patients preserve their vision and quality of life. That's all for the news updates this afternoon. Many thanks for joining me. I am Desmond Okwekudas. We're taking a break. While we come back, Emmanuel Akosiefe will take over with the business edge. Please stay with us.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
Smart, smooth, interactive, and a built-in Android active panel made for modern work and home. For corporate clients and university students, enjoy top quality 10th generation Toshiba laptops built for performance, power, clarity, and speed, all in one desktop. At Mycom JA Computers, get a laptop for as low as 1,000 Ghana cedis. All products are imported from the USA with a 1-year warranty. Visit Mycom JA Computers today and elevate your tech.
Some movies change the world, and you'll find them elsewhere. Mnet Movies 4 is just in it to change your mood. Great. They turn an ordinary night into something awesome. Make you laugh louder, smile bigger, and feel like a kid all over again.
Yay! This is so much fun!
The only thing our movies are seriously serious about is making you happy. All month long.
Ah!
On Mnet Movies 4 for the easy, cheesy, silly, funny, snort laugh classic movies of your life.
Fifra ye free nyina ye de obedientia. De ya fugia ne aduane. Sansro pintin bi aseda o me. De ye di koye mu ne de awie nyina na makuafo modem mo so. Won fifre su ne nya bidio. Nanso bate aseman Ghana mu a. Akuafo akoya abo pupu obo wasio na so da su kache. Wona san fifre mama mu nyina nya bidie. Nanso mpuntudwo mu aka akiri pa. Ekwan ben ne befa so ama akuafo fifre ho aba mfaso de. Aban hyehye ne dwumadi ahodo ode bre akuafo no bo wote ase. Feed Ghana ye den. Na nkokọ ketenkete so mfaso ama akuafo nso ye den. We inti na hyehye dwumadi esunkwa ya to ne akuafo mo. Ye de bre Original TV and Metro TV so. Dwumadi beba akwanya ama mpanyimfo anim de ewa aba fukaye mu akire wadwen. Ye je akuafo ha no amane akoje mu aye e de free aba mu mpanyimfo ho. Enimi ni ehia akuafo yonko samo honto eda joada enwumre no nso kosi ne no nwotwe e Original TV so. Saanso na da yawada enwumre no nwotwe kosi no nkono e Metro TV so. Akuafo mo Ghana akuafo abomode na yempene wo.
Ekwiafomo is sponsored by ACAP Compost. ACAP Compost comes in 3 varieties: ACAP Compost X, ACAP Compost Plus.
Watch out for Cook Africa Season 2 coming to the Metro TV with Ahiniwa. This time around, we are coming with some surprises, prizes, and of course, it's Ghana Month. So watch out for some local delicacies on Cook Africa with your favorite Ahiniwa.
More than 80% of global trade is carried by sea. Most of the products we consume daily travel through ports, making them a key link in the global supply chain. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority is committed to ensuring the enhancement, resilience, and sustainability of port infrastructure and maritime trade. Get to know which vessel is bringing your goods, how much duty you are required to pay, and how quickly you can clear your goods from the ports of Ghana. We ask the relevant questions and elicit responses from the appropriate authorities. We interact with you via our social media platforms and put your queries across to the expert. Iron Port shows this and every Sunday live on Metro TV at 5:30 p.m. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by and powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Iron Port, transparency in doing business and building nation.
Right, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. So we are getting into the second segment of the Good Afternoon Ghana, which is Business Edge. And if you've just tuned in, we are coming your way live from our studios here at Rage in Accra. Just gone by, it's the new segment of the show. Now it's the business segment of the show. We have a very exciting lineup for the afternoon. For those of you who have still questions and concerns about the 1 Ghana cedi levy per liter of fuel, which is currently going to be enrolled. We understand that it was the time for it to begin has been pushed forward. We are going to have a discussion on that and maybe the revenue target. And of course, people have asked about the accountability of it and so on and so forth. I was just asking my resource person whether people would have the opportunity to be able to evade. It doesn't look like. Whether they will be able to evade or people will be able to evade or not. The compliance level is expected. But of course, we would come to him to give us all the details that there is to speak on this or regarding this levy and how people are accepting it and so on and so forth. That will be the first segment. And then we'll get into a discussion on agri. So remember that every Monday for the next 13 weeks, we started some 3 weeks ago. We are looking at agri development, agri-business, the value addition of raw materials to the final product, all in the contribution to the growth of our GDP. We are not doing it only on the evening show, which is the bottom line on Mondays. When we have the opportunity, we do some in the afternoons. That's Good Afternoon Ghana Business Edge. And so today, the second segment will be on agri. There is a program coming up tomorrow. That's the Ghana Horticulture Program. We'll look at the dynamics of it. There are times that we've had some of our vegetables banned, even when there is the existence of trade and bilateral relations between our dear country and the countries where they have been banned, especially in the Europe. We have AGOA coming to an end, and all of these programs will ensure that either we position ourselves well as a country to mitigate the impact when the AGOA ends, for example, or to be able to renew it. We've seen the Trump tariffs and its impact on how it will affect especially agri here in the country. And so the second segment will be on that. We'll put our line on air. Please, you are not allowed to call. You're only allowed to send us an SMS or a WhatsApp message when we put the line on, because when you call, we will not be able to pick up. Just before we do that, let's go around the world and see the stories which are making round in the space of business. This is that we'll do, first of all, something on inflation. When we come back, we'll look at the stories making round in the world of business. That's the daily exchange rate, not necessarily inflation. This is the performance of our national currency. That's the Ghana cedi as against the major trading currencies. That's talking about the dollar, the British pound sterling, and the euro. The cedi, as of this morning, Tuesday, 10th of June, is buying for 10.2449 Ghana cedis. That's for $1. And then it is selling for 10.2551. So the average will be around 10.24 thereabout. And then the British pound sterling is going for 13.8880 Ghana cedis and selling for 13.9029 cedis. The euro is going for 11.6981 Ghana cedis and selling for 11.7087. All right, you're welcome back from how the city is performing against the major trading currencies. I'll just have to come straight into the studio, and then maybe after this one, we'll see the stories making round, then we can get to do the agri. So what's your concern, particularly about the 1 Ghana cedi per liter levy? Are you happy about it? Are you excited about it? Do you want it to go on, or you want it to continue being postponed, or maybe scrapped entirely? What it is that it's gone through Parliament, it's gone through the President's assent, and then it is now with the Ghana Revenue Authority. So maybe by and large, we can now say that whether we like it or yes, we are going to pay the 1 Ghana cedi. Maybe on the 16th of June, I'm told. Who I have here in the studio is the chief spokesperson for the Ghana Revenue Authority, and I've been fighting them all the time. I'm happy that he's here in the studio with me. So the Chief Revenue Officer, Customs Policy and Programs Department of the Ghana Revenue Authority is Mr. Smile Agbemenu. Thank you very much. I hope I got the name right. Thank you very much for joining me. I am happy and excited to have you here. I'm always fighting the GRA. Please put on your microphone for me.
Okay.
I'm always fighting the GRA. Do you experience that? People fighting you all the time because you have to take taxes from us.
It's normal. I mean, nobody wants to pay tax, so but tax is also needed for national development. So it is obvious that probably if it is not well explained the reason for which you have to pay the tax, or you don't see the benefit, you probably will be resisting. So it is normal.
But do you experience that regularly, the resistance?
It is always the case.
How do you manage it?
Through stakeholder consultations, engagement, you need to explain to the taxpayer why the person has to pay tax. Of course, it is a position of law, but then in administration of it, you also have to add a human face. So it is explaining, dialoguing, and letting them understand and appreciate the reason. It is for the benefit for the nation at large. So.
Yes. My concern sometimes, I'm sorry that I'm taking you off our discussion, just this one, then we'll go to our discussion. Sometimes is the fact that we have only a few of the people in the country. Maybe per statistics, we can talk about less than 4 million people out of the 36 million Ghanaians paying direct taxes. And so you have to have ways and means of expanding, and we have always been talking about that, expanding the tax net so that a lot more people can pay. And I'm sure that it would reduce how much we pay, those of us who are paying direct taxes pay. And so if you're able to do that, we'll all be happy. And that's why the resistance is there. We all want to run away from the taxes.
Anyway, yeah, of course, once we're able to expand the tax net, the burden probably may be reducing per individual. But that is more of policy and is for government to determine. Ours is to make sure that we collect it through an efficient and effective manner, making sure that we maximize the collection. So that is being our mandate. But the review of the rate and all those ones, it's policy and that is for government.
And when it comes to you, yours is to implement. That's why you go through a lot of problems, because yours is to implement and take the money. And we are resisting it. You are the one coming to us, but you didn't make the law. But anyway, let's come to the 1 Ghana cedi levy. Are you receiving the same resistance from people? I mean, if you gauge the environment, yours is to just take the money.
Yes. So our mandate does not limit the scope to just take off money, but also to educate.
Okay, of course, to educate,
so,
yes.
As part of the program, the reason for which I'm here is to also let the public be aware of what we are doing by mandate, and then how we intend to achieve that objective for the government. And if there are any concerns that probably concerns GRA, then we seek to address that. So, of course, it's a balance between enforcement and then putting a friendliness to the service that you render.
But it was supposed to start when? Yesterday?
So, as you rightly mentioned, anyway, good afternoon to your cherished viewers.
Sorry that I took you off.
I'm sorry.
So it's
and
okay.
I bring you greetings from GRS management.
Right.
As you mentioned, it was ascended to by the president on the 4th, and the directive from the ministry was for an immediate implementation. We have 2 price windows in a month. So we have the first, which is starting from the 1st of the month up to the 15th of the month. Then we have from the 16th to the end of month.
Okay.
So normally policies are implemented, or changes to policies are implemented either the start of each of the price windows. So you pick either the 1st of the month, or you pick the 16th of the month. However, in rare cases where there is the critical need to implement, you can actually implement within a price window. So that was what we were attempting to do, to implement on the 9th, which was yesterday. But of course, there was a call from the stakeholders and an engagement to the ministry So the ministry had redirected that GRA suspends the implementation yesterday for implementation to start with the second price window, which is the 16th of this month. So that is what we are
But did they give
expecting.
any reason apart from the engagement and consultations?
So most of these engagements, largely with the ministry, would have to be with certain concerns that they have. There is a series of engagements within this week to actually listen to them, to see where they can have some common grounds before. So some of those engagements are with the ministry. And we'll be having some today as well, and we intend to have another one on Thursday. Some of the concerns has to do with having some time. They say they needed 24 hours to actually readjust the systems at the pumps to be able to, if it is affecting
so it's actually
the
not
net
an issue
price.
of resistance for you, but it's an issue of maybe technicalities. For example, adjusting the pump, as you're saying, so that they can be able to take the levies for you.
Yes, so that they can be able to. So the taking is the issue, so they can be able to pass it on. However, within each price window, we have what is determined as the pump price.
Okay.
So the pump price is determined with the with National Petroleum Authority and the oil marketing companies. So they determine how much. I mean, they set the minimum at which no OMC is supposed to sell products at the pumps. So the determination of the pump price is what needed to be done, so they can use that as a basis to reconfigure the systems at the pump. There are factors that go into the determination of it, which includes the government taxes. It also includes certain margins and other things that NPA does discuss with them. So there can be a net effect of no increase.
Okay.
Especially based on the international price of the product. So there are a lot of factors that are put into consideration. So if the factors considered comes into a zero effect at the pump, it means even though we are implementing, you will not have that real effect at the pump.
Okay.
So they needed to have that with NPA to know whether they are going to do an adjustment at the pump, and if they're going to do that, how much of it they are going to adjust. There can be a net effect of even a reduction in the prices at the pump.
Even with the new tax?
Even with the new tax, because of the factors that you'll be considering. Exchange rate is one. How much they are selling the product at the international market has an effect.
Yes.
If it continues to reduce, there's a very possibility that at the pumps you feel a reduction. If it increases, then there's the likelihood of an increase. So those adjustments are done at the National Petroleum Authority level. Ours is to pass on government taxes to NPA so that they can incorporate that one into the determination of the pump price.
So that's what's currently going on, and that's the reason for postponing the, let me say, collection date.
So we have actually communicated.
Yes.
So NPA knows our position.
Yes.
So what NPA
that's
has
for
done...
the pricing windows.
Yes. No, so how much government is requesting of GRA to collect? It is now known because we needed to pass on this information to the National Petroleum Authority. Then they will consider that one in the price builder. So if we say effective this date, we are collecting an additional 1 cedi as government has directed for super, that is petrol and diesel. Then we communicate that to them. NPA determines either to implement that one based on our directive at the start of the price window or within the price window.
Within the price window.
So the concession is that let us defer to start with the second price window. So even though NPA has this information, they are waiting to be able to implement it at the start of the second price window. They are normally going to meet with the oil marketing companies by end of month, by end of the week, so that they can determine the minimum price at which they will be selling the product at the pumps. Then when the OMCs are informed of this information, then they can also determine how much they'll be selling the product at the pump. Either it will translate into some form of a readjustment of the system at the pumps or not.
So how much are you expecting maybe per month or in this year from the tax that you are going to collect?
So, government mentioned they had projected a 3.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So that is expected to. So this is a consumption tax. If nobody consumes petrol or diesel,
Mm-hmm.
it means we'll not get a tax.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If consumption increases, it means that there will be a collection of more of their amount. But per current projections, the 3.5 billion is feasible.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what government had used for the projection. So the intention was to start as early as this month. As early as this month. So if you defer up to the 16th, means that if you had implemented yesterday, so it is about a week revenue that you are likely to be losing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But throughout the year, we are going to get that 3.5 billion.
That's projected, and
for the GRA.
Yes, for GRA, for just the increase, the 1 CD increase in super and for diesel. The expectation, we have 0.2 for others as well. The expectation is that we get, if the consumption pattern still remains, if our expected volumes are met, then there's the high possibility that we'll
will
get
go beyond the
3.5 billion.
Is there a possibility when you would stop, or that's policy again, when you realize the total amount that we are looking for as a country, you're going to stop the tax?
So you mentioned that is policy.
But I'm still asking
we are directed by the ESLA Amendment Act 1141. So if there is an amendment to the act again and redirecting GRA to do otherwise, we'll comply. But again, I'm sure that is why stakeholder consultations are still ongoing with the ministry. There was a call for a sunset clause, whether there'll be an end to this. Again, that is not for determination by GRA. That is for the ministry. The ministry does that consulting with all the stakeholders. But what we have been directed by law to implement is what GRA would proceed to implement. Engaging to explain with the stakeholders how we intend to implement it, and then giving them some comfort that even though we are to implement, we are to collect, we are doing it in a more friendly manner.
So we saw the OMCs say that they will not and cannot implement this, some of the oil marketing companies. Even though that may have to do with the NPA, as you have explained, and that you would have to now deal with the NPA. Yours is, again, to make sure that government has been able to mobilize that aspect of revenue that we are talking about. What happens?
So we are an implementing agency.
Now there is engagement going on. If they still insist that they will not, when it's been passed into a law and you have to take action, what happens?
So the ministry directs. As the ministry earlier directed, for which we were complying, and then there was some further engagement with the stakeholders, and the ministry redirected that we defer up to the 16th. If there is any need for the ministry to redirect, they will direct. Until the direction, we would have to proceed in accordance with the current provisions.
That is, are you going to close those OMCs down? I want to know the action. So let's assume that by the 16th of June, the expectation through the negotiations haven't been met, but the law is the law, as we say all the time. What happens?
So we have two broad categories of oil marketing companies. We have those that would have to pay upfront before they go and lift the product. They call them cash and carry OMCs. And then we have those that have to use some form of security in accordance with Section 108 of the Customs Act 2015, Act 891. It can be in the form of a bond from a financial institution. So whichever form of security is to provide guarantee or comfort to government that in your case of default, because you would have to leave the product and then you do the payment later, which is normally after the end of the price window. You have 21 calendar days plus 4 working days to do payment. So in the case of a default, we have a guarantee to fall on. So it wouldn't be the case that you wouldn't want to pay or you cannot pay, because we have security to provide for the liftings. Maybe those who are for cash and carry and they needed to pay upfront, if they say they will not pay, it means they are not going to load. The system that we use for loading has been configured to start the charge on the 16th per directive.
Yes.
Now, the system in your request to load a product tells you how much you are paying to government. If you don't fulfill that condition as a cash and carry person, the system will not allow you to even proceed further to go to the depot and leave the product. But if you fulfilled meant for cash and carry, you had already proceeded to pay, then we don't have problem with you. For those that are bonded, that you needed to pay after, again, because of the security you have provided, the system tells you in your request for loading how much you'll be paying. If you default in the payment, would have to fall on the security you have provided. So in implementation,
you don't have a
problem in implementing.
You don't have a problem
no.
at all.
No.
So you are showing us that
stakeholder consultation, this is no different from what we have been doing.
Okay.
And just to inform the public,
yes,
the start of this month, we actually implemented the Energy Sector Levies Act 2015, Act 1135.
Yes.
This came to replace the earlier Energy Sector Levies Act, which was passed 2015, Act 899, and all the subsequent amendments. What that did was to consolidate most of the taxes that you saw us collecting, and also the price stabilization levy that NPA was collecting. That has been seeded and consolidated into one tax, which is the shortfall that we are collecting.
Yes.
It is the energy shortfall tax that has been increased for super and for diesel by 1 cedi. So we have already started implementing the change in policy with them start of this month. So something they are already familiar with. And they could appreciate that we have been able to do that one without any form of challenges. So what we are doing is to just adjust the amount on the amount what we have implemented. We are just adjusting it by 1 cedi.
So we are the consumers. I mean, they will pass it on. The OMCs will pass it on to us. The GPRTU, the Protoa, and all of these people who are buying the fuel every day, including you, who is buying
yes,
fuel.
Of course.
every day. Have you engaged us? Have you engaged the GPRTU? Have you engaged maybe Protoa, all of these institutions, the final consumers, even though you are dealing with the NPA and the OMCs directly?
So people are asking for sunset clauses. To what extent would our engagement end? How do we extend it to everybody? If you're not too careful, it may even say we have to engage the public. But of course, to appreciate that you do that one through group of people.
Right.
You see, associations. So we have the direct people that we interface with, which are the oil marketing companies, which are the National Petroleum Authority, and all those stakeholders. So the thinking, if we reach out to them, then it is reaching out to the public. But that is just one medium. Before we implement a policy as this, we have what we call the Commissioner General's Tariff Interpretative Order.
Okay.
It is a document directing, first introducing the change in policy, and also directing all affected parties what intention is and how we intend to administer what we are changing, the change in policy. So tariff interpretative order had been issued and served on the oil marketing companies and served on the affected stakeholders. Then we also published this on our website by way of reaching out to the public. So, and then an invite to your studio as this one, and then engaging.
Yes.
So these are mediums that the authority uses to reach out to stakeholders. But for some of those that are critical, like the National Petroleum Authority, the oil marketing companies, we have most cases in-person meetings with them.
Okay. So what is happening is that I have the PRO of the GPRTU online. Not to ask you questions anyway, but to join the conversation, because they are also a major stakeholder. That's the Deputy PRO, Samuel Amwa. Sammy, good afternoon. Thank you very much. If you can hear me, June 16, it is coming on. Are you ready for it?
Yeah. Come again, please.
I'm saying that the 16th of June, the implementation of the 1 cedi per liter levy will begin. Are you guys ready for it?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Let me say good afternoon to yourself, your panel, and your viewers. Yes, we are aware when we have been told that the one Ghana city levy is going to be implemented on coming 16th. Yes, we are aware of that. Initially, we were not having a clear understanding about the whole thing. That is why earlier on we brought a release that one, we were asking the government to reverse, the implementation of this one Ghana city levy on the petroleum product per liter. Then also we were also requesting the government to invite the major stakeholders to give us a fair explanation and further explanation for us to also have a fair understanding about the whole thing. So that is why, we demanded, and we came out recently that, like today, we had wanted to embark on the sit-down strike. But then there was an engagement yesterday with the ministry, and then further explanations were given. One thing about the transport sector is that our fear was that, since we just reduced our transport fares by 15%, and even having done that, we were even thinking that the spare parts and the lubricant and others are also going to come down, of which we were still monitoring, and it was not coming down. So our fears was that coming to add another one Ghana cedi when we go to buy the fuel is going to add another burden to our operational costs. So that is the main reason why we decided to embark on this sit-down strike. Yes. So after the explanation was given that, yes, it's true we are going to pay this one Ghana cedis, but per the arrangement that the government is making, the next pricing window is likely that the fuel price is going to go down again. And going to the pump to go and buy will not affect us, will not see any change at the pump. And that is the explanation they give. That is why today we decided to reverse the idea of embarking on the sit-down strike, waiting for the 16th of this June, that is coming Monday, to see if truly we'll go to the pump and we'll see difference or not. So I think that is what we are looking forward to see.
So Sammy, as we speak, your strike has been called off.
Not calling off, but we have suspended it. The way there is suspended, it may happen that on the 16th, if we go to the fuel pump, the fuel stations to buy our fuel, and we get there and we see that, hey, the one Ghana cedi, because as I'm speaking to you now fuel is being sold for, I think, petrol for 12 cedis, 49 pesos, and diesel for 12 cedis, 89 pesos, respectively. So if we go to the pump from 16th and we find out that this one Ghana cedis is being added to it again, then it means that what we have been told, is what we are seeing. Then we go sit down and we think of the next line of action.
But if you go and it is 13 cedis, it will not be different from what they are explaining.
Come again. I'm
saying that if you go and the 12 cedis has moved to 13, it will not be too different from the explanations we are getting. Or
no, it will be different because, listen, the main reason why we reduce our transport fares by...
Some you want to pay the 12.49 even with the one Ghana cedi increment in tax still.
Yeah, actually, that is what they are saying, yeah.
But why do you want that?
Oh, okay, so we want that because we reduce our transport fares based on where the petroleum product is. Normally, anytime we do a transport fare, transport fare reduction or increment, there is a percentage threshold that we normally look at before we talk of, talking about transport fare reduction or increment. That is the 10% threshold. So we reduce it because when we had our meeting with the transport ministry, we find out that the fuel price has been reduced by 18%. That is why, we sat and we had this agreement of reducing it by even as far like 15%. So if it changes again and if it goes up again, then it means that we are going to pay extra. It has added some additional cost to our operational cost.
But the government has been talking about you appreciating the differences in the price of the fuel some few weeks back and the price now based on the exchange rate, based on the crude prices the world over. And then the fact that we are even in a deregulation policy. And so if you have come down from 15 point something or 16 to 12, and now you have to add 1 cedi, is that a cause for you to sit down?
Yes. You see, my brother, let me say this. Before we reduce this transport fare by 15%, when we met, the transport ministry knows very well that normally on the components that we look at before we talk of review of transport fares, we look into lubricant, we look into taxes, we look into spare parts, then we look into petroleum product. When we had our meeting, we find out that it's only the petroleum product that has been reduced by 18%. And every component, every percentage on each component has to be divided by 3, then we use 1. This means that, like, if we are to look only into the petroleum product to go by our reduction, then it means that we should have reduced our transport fares by only 6%. The reason why we had this agreement, of reducing it by 15% is because of, the promise they gave us that the other components, like the lubricant, the spare parts, are going to go down because they have had an engagement with them, of which they have failed because it has not been reduced. As I'm speaking to you now, drivers are agitating. They have been talking that the promise we gave them that the lubricant and the spare parts are going to go down. As I'm speaking to you now, it has not gone down. So now, if today we are looking forward for those components to come down and it has not come down, yes, and the fuel price is around 12 cedis, and before we sleep and wake up, another 1 Ghana cedi is going to be added to it, then it means that we are losing. So that is where our problem lies.
Well, I agree with you on just one principle about the volumes of fuel you buy, because you buy higher volumes than those of us who use private cars. You are going back and forth all the time, and you are buying it. And so when it's even 1 peso, you see the margin heavier than we do. So we'll leave it at that. But we have the GRA man here, the Chief Revenue Officer, Customs Policy and Programs Department. His duty is to make sure that the tax is implemented in a very conducive way and manner, and the revenue mobilization is done for Ghana to go on. Do you have any question for him before I let you go?
Okay, so if I want to say something, what I want to say finally is that we, the transport operators, all that we want to see is that the fuel price will remain as it is or to come down. If we find out that it is going up and it gets to where we also have to call for reviewing of transport fares, then we'll do that. Aside that, I think I don't have any further question for him.
Thank you very much, Sami. So, Samuel Amoa is the Deputy PRO for the JPRTU. He's been speaking to us about their concerns. Let me come back to you now, Smile. And in all of this, my final question to you will be whether you can be able to meet your target, not just this part, but the entire revenue target for the year. Are you still on course?
Yes, we are. We are making positive target. Means that we have collected for the first quarter. We've collected more than
your target
programmed or targeted. So,
how much was your first quarter target, and what is it now? You don't have the figures.
I don't have the figures.
That's very nice. But do you have for the year?
So we, as GRA, is targeting at 220 billion
for the year.
For the year.
Okay, fair enough. So at the end of the year, we'll still come back to you to be.
And this does not include the 1 cedi.
This is a special papers levy.
We can declare that it is out of the target. So we are also accounting for it out of the target.
And you come back to account for all the monies that you are collecting, especially on the if the consumption goes up, like you said, you will come back to account that you targeted.
Yes, so in fact, if you look at the GRA's way of doing business, if you come to customs, we do not have physical contact with money.
With cash, okay.
So the transactions happen through the banking system into the consolidated account at Bank of Ghana. We only account for that. So accounting for the money is not a problem. We have always been accounting for it 100% and will continue to account for it. That you can be assured.
Okay, so I would let you go, but there are too many people watching us, lots of them sending messages, but I would let you go. Just your final words to all of us that are going to pay this tax, who are not happy, too happy that you listen to Samuel Lamoa, too happy that we are going to pay. I'm sure, like you said, you deal with this each and every day. Any kind of tax, people are not happy to pay. So your final words to us, then I can let you go.
Thank you for the opportunity again, and just to encourage everybody to be tax compliant. In fact, if you are all tax compliant, I believe that we'll see most of these social interventions as we are expecting, which comfort everybody in the country. Our mandate is to ensure that we regain the necessary revenue for the government, but we have to do it in a fair, we have to do it in a conducive atmosphere so that it's a win-win, everybody is happy. So I'll encourage everybody to continue to be compliant and then to trust that when we collect the tax, it will be for government developmental agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Ismail Agbemenu is the Chief Revenue Officer, Customs Policy and Programs Department at the Ghana Revenue Authority. Someone says, I believe, well, this is political anyway, but Fred says, I believe politicians never learn from the past. Ghanaians believe in consensus, and so rushing this tax on us was a mistake. Government must involve us, and we will gladly support, especially if we know the tax is going to be used well. That's Fred. Fred, you didn't tell us where you're texting from, but I'm taking that one only because I've been concerned about consultations and extensive engagements all the time, from e-levy to all the taxes that we have had. I believe, and I've said time and again, that if there were effective consultations ahead, I'm not sure some of them would have been met with the opposition that it was met with. But we are happy that currently, as Chief says, engagement is going on. And we heard the GPRTU saying that they have backtracked, at least momentarily, on the sit-down strike that they wanted to go on. It means that engagement is going on. So thank you very much, but stay with us. I'll take a quick break. When I come back, I get into the agri discussions right away. Stay with me.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
For the first time in several weeks, the Ghana cedi depreciated week on week against the US dollar and the other major foreign currencies in the retail market. The lower currency lost 3.52% against the dollar, 2.01% to the pound, and 3.08% to the euro, respectively. It's traded at a mid-rate of 11 cedis 75 pesos against the American greenback. The weak performance of the cedi in the retail market last week was due to elevated demand pressures in the forex market. However, the local unit strengthened slightly against the US dollar in the interbank market, appreciating by a modest 0.29% to close at a mid-rate of 10 cedis 25 pesos to $1. Databank Research believes the softer than expected May 2025 US labor data weighed on the dollar across major pairs, driving a modest cedi gain on the interbank market. The government failed to meet its treasury bill targets for the second week running. According to the auction results released by the Bank of Ghana, the government received 5.471 billion cedis of the bids tendered by the investors. It, however, rejected 1.095 billion cedis of the bids, a decision primarily to lower the cost of servicing the debt. The target for the weekly auction of the debt instrument was 6.669 billion cedis. Once again, a chunk of the bids came from the 91-day bill, where 3.507 billion cedis, representing 64.07% of the total bids, were offered. For the 182-day bill, 1.806 billion cedis was received. However, the uptake was 1.674 billion cedis. The bids tendered for the 364-day bill were estimated at 157.18 million cedis. Only 48.44 million cedis were accepted. Meanwhile, the interest rates fell with respect to the 182-day and 364-day bills as the government intensified its strategy of keeping rates lower. The Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofori-Atta, has made a strong case for the renewal of the African Growth and Opportunity Act during high-level discussions with senior U.S. officials in Washington, D.C. as Ghana seeks to safeguard trade interests. The meeting held on Monday, June 9, 2025, comes at a time when the U.S. America First trade policy and sweeping 10% tariffs on global shipments, including Ghana's, pose growing challenges to African exporters. The meeting focused on pressing trade policy issues and ways to preserve the hard-won economic cooperation between the two nations. Key among the discussions was the future of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, set to expire in September 2025. The minister reiterated describing it as a win-win framework that has attracted substantial U.S. investment into Ghana, particularly in the garment and textile sectors. The African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM, has challenged Fitch Ratings over its recent downgrade of the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank. It follows Fitch's assessment, which suggested that Ghana's sovereign loan is a non-performing asset. In a statement issued on June 6, the APRM described the move as both legally incongruent and analytically flawed, arguing that Fitch's interpretation disregards the unique legal framework underpinning Afreximbank's sovereign lending operations. Fitch had lowered Afreximbank's long-term foreign currency issuer rating from BBB to BBB- with a negative outlook. The decision cited a 7.1% estimated non-performing loan ratio with Ghana, South Sudan and Zambia accounting for a significant portion. But APRM says this view misrepresents the legal basis of the operation of Afreximbank. It explained that loans to member states including Ghana and Zambia, both founding members and shareholders, are governed by intergovernmental agreements and not commercial credit norms. The row between US President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk over a major spending bill has exacerbated uncertainty over the failure of NASA's budget, which is already facing deep cuts. The White House has requested huge cuts to the space agency's budget, which will see funding for science projects cut by nearly half. Now the president has threatened to withdraw federal contract with Musk company SpaceX, further jeopardizing the U.S. space program. NASA relies on the firm's Falcon 9 rocket fleet to resupply the International Space Station with crew and supplies. The space agency also expects to use its Starship rocket to send astronauts to the moon and eventually to Mars once it has been developed. Dr. Simon Baba, a space scientist at the Open University, said the uncertainty was having a chilling impact on the human space program. The astonishing exchanges, snap decisions, and U-turns we witnessed in the last week undermines the very foundations that we build our ambitions on. A new round of talks aimed at resolving the trade war between the US and China has started in central London. A senior US delegation, including Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, met Chinese representatives such as Vice Premier He Lifeng at Lancaster House to resolve tension between the world's two largest economies, which is threatening global growth. Chinese exports are rare earths, which are crucial for modern technology, as well as Beijing's access to US products, including computer chips, are expected to be high on the agenda. Last month, Washington and Beijing agreed a temporary truce over trade tariffs, but each country has since accused the other of breaching the deal. The US says China has been slow to release exports of rare earth metals and magnets, which are essential for manufacturing everything from smartphones to electric vehicles. Meanwhile, Washington has restricted China's access to US goods such as semiconductors and other related technologies linked to artificial intelligence. The new round of negotiations follows a phone call between Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping last week, which the US president described as a very good talk.
Back in the day, you tune in radio from morning, and you don't want to miss out because anybody who comes on is massive.
They say back in the day on Metro TV, Mr. BKD anyway.
Back in the day, mentioning the place that you used to live, no, that meant that you were Dadaba.
Oh, how?
Because we are the ones who went to Saito.
I wasn't really a nightclub person.
No, I mean,
the only times I went to the nightclub, Kobe Dixon took me. Yeah. You have a Walkman by your side. Now that was your selector. The Walkman was your selector. So when you play the first song and you want to change the song, you have to start cueing your next song through your headphone.
Hi, my name is Ivan Kwashiga. I'm the CEO of Farmhouse Productions. I'm a film director, producer. You are watching Back in the Days with Sammy B on Metro TV.
Massa, we're a guy and yes, Sammy B a feature. This is Back in the Day. Keep watching.
You're welcome back from the break. So I told you that the second segment will be very exciting, and we are getting into the space of our Greek. But it will excite you, the kind of guests that I have here and what people can actually do in the country and how we expect, and the same things that we've been talking about every day, that the Ministry of Agric has to pay particular attention to agribusiness and the development of agric. We are happy that now it is with the Ministry of Trade. So we have the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. And of course, the Ministry of Agric is also still doing its part. But listen to the guests that I have here, and you will enjoy listening to them. First of all, is to my extreme left in the person of Daniel Amwakwentri. He is the executive director for Africa Skills Hub Foundation. There is a program coming up, and he's hosting a session of the program. We'll tell you about it. But Danny, thank you very much for joining us, and you're welcome to the studio.
Sure, thank you, Kwesi, and good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a while anyway. I think the whole year I haven't seen you.
Yeah, this year we've not met, so happy New Year. We haven't met. Yes,
so
happy
to
New
my
Year.
immediate left is Mavis Walker-Blagoji, Chief Executive Officer. Edis Matt, she's into production of dried fruits such as coconut flakes, pineapple chips, mango chips, amongst others. But she's here. Mavis, thank you very much for joining us. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
I hope you're doing well.
Yes.
And I see products of your dried coconut flakes and so on. We'll come back to talk about it, but you are taking part in the program tomorrow. And then, of course, you know him, Tractor. He's everywhere. Now he's expanding his foot across the globe, should I say, or maybe he's begun from Africa. My very good friend, Emmanuel Ansan Profi, is a co-founder. I was going to say the chief executive. Co-founder for... Chief Executive for Tractor.
Yes, co-founder for Tractor, yes.
And then now buyafricamade.com, technology in horticulture.
Yes.
I haven't seen that one.
Yes, so that is...
I didn't know about that one.
You didn't know about that one. See, I've been away for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I've been running around the continent.
What's been happening? Tell me.
So we expanded into Nigeria, and that's a space not to joke with, especially with respect to how... It's the largest market and the most spending market as well. It's a sweet but complex market. That is our term. So over there, we saw the opportunities within the industry. How are our products not getting into the shelves, and then also predominantly outside the continent?
This year, I kept calling you. I think around last month or so, somebody needed about 15,000 tons of maize, yellow maize, for animal feed.
Unfortunately, you might not be able to find it easily.
Why?
Because yellow maize is not the one that we've been growing more. It's recently that, so if you go to market and even kinky, when it is yellow, people feels like, it's meant for animals. And so we don't grow it much. It's recently that people are not even growing it.
So there is no market for it?
There's markets now.
Now
markets now, yeah.
Okay. But we don't have a lot of people going into the...
In fact, the white and the yellow, it turned out that yellow has more even nutritional benefits than the white.
I actually didn't know it was for animal feed, and it has that kind of market where from across Europe and US they come in to buy.
That's exactly one of the things that makes the yolk even more yellow with the yellow maize.
So it means we need to invest into it. We need to pay attention to some of these things. But sure. Danny, what's been happening with you also? I mean, the whole of this year I haven't seen you.
I think definitely, once again, good to see you and thank you for the opportunity. So my organization is the Africa Skills Hub Foundation, ASH. We are more of an enterprise support organization, so focused on creating economic and skills-based opportunities for youth, PWDs, women and MSMEs, within the sectors of agricultural, agro-processing, agribusiness, then also the climate and the digital and the green sectors. As a center, how do we do this? We do this with different array of partners, i.e. from government institutions through to development partners, as well as regulatory bodies, as well as financial institutions too. So we'll be running a couple of different programs.
I didn't know you deal with agriculture. I thought you were with the youth and empowerment and all of those training and that.
I think this is just by the way, but last week we were honored as Ghana's most outstanding community empowerment organization.
Congratulations.
But the empowerment here comes in with many branches in it. So entrepreneurship is empowerment, education is empowerment, engagement is empowerment. So what we've been doing as a center is to create economic opportunities. Definitely you need to look at the real sectors, and that is where agricultural, agribusiness, agro-processing is a major, I'll say, a major pillar for us as a country. And so what we've been doing with different partners is really to help grow and help nurture a lot of youth and women who are really looking at maximizing the opportunities in this space. So We have a project with the MasterCard Foundation and development and a number of commercial banks called Bridge in Agriculture.
Okay.
And for the next 5 years, we began that in 2023. So for the next 5 years, we are on a journey to train close to 60,000 youth and women MSMEs.
I'm sure you would need demand for all the things that demand does in there.
So once we train this, ours is also to help them with technical assistance.
Okay.
Then also finance is key there. So then helping them with also how to assess funding opportunities within the program. Then after that is also the access to market and all that. So this is one of the, I'll say, major programs we have. We're also working with the National Youth Authority on a nationwide skills entrepreneurship roadshow. So as it stands now, we've done trainings, and I mean hardcore real trainings in close to 260 districts across the country. We've been everywhere. We've been everywhere as a team, and we have the data, we have the numbers, and these are, we don't sit in our office in Accra. We have 2 centers, one in Accra, one in Tamaliba. We go to the grounds ourselves. We engage the various district community leaders and the various influencers, really to understand the issues, what are the local contextual kind of opportunities for the youth and women in these areas. So fairly, there's a lot of agribusiness in what we are doing as a center, and we are happy working with different array of partners in this space. So
and you see Mavis here.
Yes, quite excited with her products, and happy. Coconut is really a major, one of our major cash crops. Tree crops, I would say. When you look at the Tree Crops Authority, the coconut is one of the major ones is being focused on. So happy to see the coconut flakes, because what Mavis is just doing is letting us see the need of value addition.
Exactly.
And over the years, for us as a center, we are always trying to echo that a lot for a lot of young SMEs. Agric is not just going to have an acreage, but you could definitely have a major stake in the value chain. So happy to see Mavis has the coconut flakes, and definitely you could see what it means here.
Let me ask you, what informed us, and how did you come by this? So the company is Edismart.
Yes, and then brand name is Yes Coco.
So you have a mall or something, or a space where you have an outlet where you have these items?
Yes, I have few of them, not the big ones, but few of them that I stock my product with. But mostly I have it at a production center. Then when there are orders, I deliver to the customers.
But tell me about the journey. How did you come about? Not many people would have thought of doing a dried coconut flake. You call it coconut flake. And can we chew it like that? So you tell me about it.
Yes. So I actually wanted to address the issue of post-harvest losses when it comes to fruits. And it actually came to mind for me to come up with something from coconut, since nothing of it is actually waste. So I thought of it, and finally I arrived at coconut flakes, which was the unsweetened, but now I have varieties. The unsweetened coconut flakes, and I tested the market. People so much love it because it was something new in the market. And I got the encouragement. I also got other feedbacks from customers to add other varieties to it as well. So if you look at this one, I have chia cocoa, which is coconut mixed with seeds, chai seed, sesame seed, cinnamon, date and honey, and sweetener. That's a variety. I have other varieties, the one with ginger and honey. And then as time goes on, I've added other fruits to it.
You mentioned pineapple.
Yes.
And I'm interested in that you have dried pineapple. So you remove the husk, and then you cut it into pieces and dry it.
And dry it.
And it's still sweet as it is.
Still
you can
sweet.
chew it like that.
Yes, please.
You should have brought that one. That's for coconut.
Yes. So that one is out of stock, and then because of the program tomorrow, we are doing production.
Preparing for the program.
Yes. Please.
Now, Iman, let me ask you. I know about Trotro Tractor.
Yes.
But for the purpose of the people that are watching us, let me ask you also about your journey. Then we can talk about the program tomorrow. And I see you're excited about what she's doing, because I know all the things that you do. But, I mean, you are here now. We are hosting you as a resource person. What have you been doing, and what are you up to?
So over the years, so Tractor basically moved from Ghana.
Mhm.
We expanded, and the idea is we make sure that mechanization services reach to the average farmer.
Mhm.
And so we created a USSD platform,
Mhm.
which is a novelty at that time,
Mhm.
that a farmer can be able to access mechanization at the comfort of his hut
Mhm.
or home or
Mhm.
wherever, even on the farm.
Mhm.
And we moved on, built it across Ghana, Nigeria, that's where I'm based now, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and then obviously we did Benin and Kenya as well. But we didn't do much in Kenya like we did. So over the years, I've been away for a while. I do currently about 70% of my time in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a big market. It's the biggest market now.
The last time we were talking, you were just going in and coming.
Yeah.
But now you have left us and you are in Nigeria.
The problem in Africa is big. And so we build this market, move on, and we go and build the other side as well. Nigeria predominantly because of, one, the market, two, we share the same ecosystem. The problems we're facing here, they are facing 10 times, especially in food production. We're not having a lot of youth going into this sector because it's not attractive enough. But with technology, it's becoming more interesting. Look at what she's just done. And that is the step that I have moved onto now. And how do we now move this product into places where we can't access? We're surprised to know such products can actually do well in the European market big time.
Exactly.
We are just about 6 hours or 7 hours away from Europe.
Europe, yeah.
It will interest you to know that you go to the European market now, there's a particular brand of products coming in. It's coming all the way from Costa Rica. And they've named it African Beauty. It's palm oil.
Wow.
So they're using our brand as Africans to be marketing their palm oil.
I've seen Gary being sold, and it's expensive than the way we would
That is
buy
what,
it here.
Yes, because now that we've been able to market our product enough, I mean, through several programs, and there are people in the diaspora. I mean, we go out, everybody travel with their food. So packaging it is the next step. And so that is why we built, I built a Buy Africa
The buyafricameat.com.
Yes. Reason is that if you want to buy something in Asia, what comes to mind? Alibaba. If you want to buy something from Europe, you are looking at either eBay then, or you'll be looking at Amazon.
Amazon, yeah.
There's none in Africa for our own Africa. So you can't find an authentic African product that will display there, and then we build a marketplace for young people on every businesses together. So you get from...
So wherever you are in the world, if you are in the US, I mean, the things that you will buy on Amazon, if you want an authentic African product, and we come to buyafricameat.com, you will find it for us.
Exactly. So we are now so we're doing not just food, we're doing handmade sandals. In fact, the shoe I'm wearing was made by a Nigerian.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So I would be happy if they can pick it, but if they are not, you still go on.
Yes, it was made by a Nigerian, and that shoe can sell on the market anywhere.
Like horseman shoes we have in Ghana.
Exactly, like horseman shoes we have.
Yeah.
Like caveman watches.
Watches, yes,
Why should
exactly.
we be importing watches from Switzerland? So we built this platform to enable our people in the diaspora, and also as a statement for Africa, to say that, you know what, intra-Africa trade can only happen if we start building such platform. So it's a marketplace. We don't own the store. It's so you could have lady putting cocoa, or the coconut flakes on it, and set her own prices, do her own promos, and then we're able to reach the market.
So we are going to talk about the program. So if you're watching us, you still can send your message if you want to. I'll try as much as possible to find time and read it. But there is a program coming up tomorrow. The reason why we have these resource people gathered here this afternoon is that there is a program coming up tomorrow, Ghana Horticulture Expo. You see it on the screen, Ghana Horticulture Expo 2025. Their theme is Innovate, Transform, Sustain, Driving Growth in Ghana's Horticultural Sector. And I am excited about it because we talk about the value addition, we talk about lots of things. They are going to have their program. If we have the opportunity, we'll go there to the program where it will happen. They will tell us all the details. But when we do, what we'll try and do is to host these same people again, live from the event center. And Imam mentioned something, Danny mentioned something, Mavis mentions something, and I'm particular about them. Number one for me is to how to get the youth involved in agriculture. Not every youth anyway. I spoke to the FISH president. He believes that not necessarily every youth, but those who are interested and want to build it, we should support them to build it. And so we'll look at that. We'll look at the marketing for produce, like what Mavis has here. How do we get market? We have after here and all of that. Are we able to still sell and even go beyond the borders of Ghana? And then the process of the value addition. But let me begin this one with you, and then I'll come to Danny. What's happening tomorrow, the Ghana Horticulture?
So Ghana Horticulture is a program that has been put together by FAGE, Federation of Association of Ghanaian Exporters, and they've done a marvelous job. Because we travel around the continent, not just the continent. In Europe, yearly, there's a fruit logistica, so it's the version that is being done here, most likely. And it's where we're displaying all the various horticultural programs. And the key aspect of it is also to involve the youth. Like you just rightly mentioned, it's not just agri-business or agricultural as usual. You have to do the whole value chain analysis and the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
Now, somebody designed this logo. Somebody designed this logo and then passed on to design the pouch itself.
It's not just the agric,
It's
but
not just the agric.
the design, the branding parts, the everything.
The young person who even designed the dehydrator to dry this product, to now keep it. Now, they've done something marvelous when it comes to, in fact, and that's one of the things that they envy as Ghanaian, I must be frank. If a Nigerian picks the product, it's coming from Ghana, that's all. It doesn't have to.
They're okay with it.
The packaging, they know that Ghana have the standards. So these are some of the opportunities that we are not really seeing. Funny enough, we used to call black soap Ofori-Atta seminar, right? Nigerians are buying black soap from here.
I'm calling it black soap, but we say Ofori-Atta seminar.
But it's actually predominantly their soap. Ofori-Atta seminar is there.
Well, anyway, yes, that's true. But they're buying from the Ghanaian market.
Yes, because they believe the Ghanaian one has the quality. Shea butter, same. So there's a lot of things that we've not. So value addition, the whole chain will involve a lot of youth. And I mean, if you have made a conscious effort and say we are, one of the things we're trying to put together is called 100,000 youth program in agric. It's not just agriculture. It's not just, it's the business side of it. So there's a whole lot within the space. And that's what Ghana Horticulture, I mean...
And that's beginning tomorrow. That's what you're focusing on. Yes. But Danny, you are hosting a session.
Yeah.
What is it going to be about? I mean, first of all, the entire program, and then your session. What are we to expect? What will be the line of discussion?
Yeah, sure.
And if anybody will be watching you or coming there, what's the expectation?
Yes. So for Africa Skills Hub, let me say a big thank you to FAGE and GEPA, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, for really allowing us to be a partner on this Ghana Horticulture Expo. So we are quite excited as an organization. What will be happening tomorrow is we've designed what we call the Agri-Based Youth Clinic.
Okay.
And so for the Agri-Based Youth Clinic, it's more of a simulation of a doctor-patient kind of experience.
Oh, wow.
And so what will be happening tomorrow, 11th, 12th, 13th of June. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the Agri-Based Youth Clinic, where we expect we'll have our agri-based doctors. So these are doctors who are in their lab coats with their. It's once you enter any hospital, once you see a doctor, you recognize a doctor. So you see our agri-based doctors, SME doctors. Then the patients here, I would say, is of a better whether young people, young women
who are looking to get into agri.
Those who are interested. I love what Chairman Davis Kobo, President of FAGE, mentioned. Agric is not for every young person, but it's for those who are interested. But the interesting thing about to be interested is getting the appropriate and the right information.
Right.
So at the Agri-Based Youth Clinic, we'll have our SME doctors there, and youth, women, MSMEs would be attended to. So it's more of a one-on-one diagnostics. You come in there to really understand your challenge. Is your challenge lack of information? Is your challenge you wanting access to markets? Is your challenge funding opportunities? Is your challenge mentorship? And we are very keen on the mentorship because when you look at the FAGE is a federation of Ghanaian exporters.
Yes.
And so these are, I would say, very experienced exporters who do a lot of export to the Europe and North America. So if we have Mavis here who is hoping to have coconut flakes in, let's say, in Europe, the mentorship is very key here. Making sure we connect her to one of the major experienced feed exporters, business exporters, just to ensure at least one-on-one mentoring for like maybe between a month to 3 months, just to help with guidance and also shaping your mindset. So this is really what we intend to do. So mentorship will be very key there. But the overall goal of what we want to do is the mindset transformation here. Can a young person, a young lady come to walk to the agri-based youth clinic and live with a whole renewed, refreshing hope and confidence that, you know what, agribusiness, I really want to stick to it. I believe I can get better with this because I can also help create jobs. I can boost the local economy. And also in the long run, once I begin to do export, that can also even help with our forex too, or foreign. Yeah, so this is, we want young people to come enthused, but live with that renewed mindset transformation. And so that is really what the youth clinic will be seeking to do in the next 3 days at the expo.
I'm happy about that, but maybe you are exhibiting. Yes. Are you looking to be trained and to train? I mean, there are people who would pass through your stand, and obviously people will be excited about what you are able to do and maybe how you started and all of that. Will you be sharing, or what's your bit? What do you want to do there?
Okay, so I want to actually showcase what I have, that is brand visibility, and also get to learn more about what is into the system. For instance, I've started coconut farming, which is this year.
Oh, good,
and,
great.
I have little knowledge about it, so meeting my colleagues and then mentors in the field,
the network,
will actually help me, yes. And also get to know the opportunities that await me as a young entrepreneur.
Funding opportunities as well. Are we expecting any of them?
So I'm happy, Mavis, as we mentioned. So for the agri-based youth clinic, access to funding is very key to what we do. And because we are an enterprise support organization where we help with capacity building of SMEs, young people. So we have a lot of Mavises across the country. Then we help also with call center, post-training support, advisory support, where if someone wants to, for example, even register their product with the FDA, regulatory engagement, these are things we do.
One-stop shop for everything.
So, and the third most important component of our theory of change, so capacity building call center, is capital. So access to funding opportunities. We are, I mentioned to you, we are running a MasterCard project where we are working with 6 commercial banks. Fidelity Bank is one of our partners on the project. I know Fidelity is a major sponsor for tomorrow's expo. And for the bridge in agriculture, for the next 5 years, we are supporting a lot of young Mavises, women and youth, to get access to funding. So first, capacity skills training, then also access to funding at a single-digit interest rate per annum. So somewhere around 5 to 6% per annum. So Fidelity, I know I'm happy Fidelity will be there, so maybe we'll get to know that itself too. So these are the various opportunities we are making sure young people come there. So that is why I mentioned the appropriate information can make and not make you.
And Ima, you have the platform. I mean, same point, the funding. And then also marketing. If people are here in Ghana doing this, and you have this platform, it means we are moving forward. Previously, we'll be talking about the fact that we have tweeted after in Africa and back and forth and blah, blah. Tomorrow, this is happening. There is the opportunity for networking, funding, access to funding, marketing, and so on and so forth. And you are in the space. So, I mean, how is it going to happen?
So, yes. So, I'm glad Danny is here. And there are a lot of Mavises. And sometimes some of these things come up. The hand-holding experience is not there.
Very key.
And we're glad to have people, and I always say that I'm glad we have people like Farmer Davis Kubo in the system, who has done a lot of hand-holding and mentoring, and he's willing and ready to move a lot of more. I mean, currently, as the government's new agenda of shifting within our export sector with the 24-hour economy, and we need more. Reason, he gets a US FDA certificate on this, and then she's gone. So a lot of more, and I'm glad we have the people like Danny, the Africa Skills Hub there. Those are the people to hold this and train them. Because after all the capacity building, without the funding, they go back to square one.
I agree.
So we've had a lot of these trainings before. So at that space, there's going to be a lot of training, a lot of speaking engagement, and then also practical things happening there.
And then the exhibition also.
And the exhibition also.
But it's happening when? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow. So tomorrow, there's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Yes. And for us like this, we're looking to also onboard all of these ones onto the platform.
Wow. Oh, that's
free
great.
of charge.
That's not to pay anything.
No, we are not
for the suppliers.
Yeah, for the suppliers, we are onboarding them on free of charge.
Let me ask you: are you charging the people?
No, it's free. So just
the people that are coming there.
Yeah, it's free for everyone.
So you are onboarding for free. So if you are watching us, I think where is the venue?
Accra International Conference Center.
So I think the place to be from tomorrow will be the AICC, the Accra International Conference Center. Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday.
Yes.
Beginning when?
It's beginning at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Yes.
And I'm told the president
is coming, so by
open it up.
Yeah. So.
And then after the opening, everybody is allowed in there
exactly.
for the exhibition. And so, let me just thank you. And you've watched us. You have something to say? Your final words? 30 seconds.
I'm actually looking forward to attend this program because last year I was there with my product and it was massive. So this year I'm expecting something great. So anyone out there should also expect something great from the Horticulture Expo 2025. They should come and visit my stand as well. Yes, Kuku. Your dry fruits.
So the lady and my two great friends, the lady is Mavis Walker-Blagoji, Chief Executive Officer at this Mart, and we've shown you some of the things that she's producing. Emmanuel and Sam Profi is the co-founder and Chief Executive Officer by AfricaMade.com, technology in the horticulture space. He's also, of course, the CEO for Tractor. The Ministry of Agric is doing something similar to what you are doing. I'm sure we can discuss it. They are saying service centers in about 50 districts to start with. I don't know if you've... Thank you very much. So, you know, I'm sure you may have to provide them some expertise. And then, of course, Daniel Amakwenchi is the Executive Director, Africa Skills Hub Foundation. He's hosting a session, the SME and Youth Clinic, tomorrow. It promises to be exciting. So tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, be with them. I'm sure I'll be there myself. My name is Kwesi Afri. This is Business Edge. Good afternoon.
We brought you the hottest trending music videos, insightful interviews with your favorite celebrities and some dance moves.
We also got your favorite celebrity talking about their deep, goofy, and interesting sides you and I can see on cameras and social media.
But hold up, this season we are bringing you a whole new different vibe. Spanking new videos, top 5 countdown, and the all-new segment dubbed MVC Experience, where we bring you close to music, fun, and more interesting vibes.
Join the vibe this and every Saturday on Metro Television.
Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles, MVC Official TV.
Clean your compound every morning. It's cheaper than treating malaria. Don't wait for government. Lead the change.
Back in the day, tuning radio from morning, and you don't want to miss out because anybody who comes on is massive.
Back in the day, on Metro TV, Mr. BKD anywhere.
Back in the day, mentioning the place that you used to live, no, that meant that you were Dadaba.
Oh, how?
Because we are the ones who went to Saito.
I wasn't really a nightclub person.
No, I mean,
the only times I went to the nightclub, Ofori-Dixon took me.
Yeah.
You have a Walkman by your side. Now that was your selector. The Walkman was your selector. So when you play the first song and you want to change the song, you have to start cueing your next song through your headphone.
Hi, my name is Ivan Kwashigan. I'm the CEO of Farmhouse Productions. I'm a film director, producer. You are watching Back in the Days with Sammy B on Metro TV.
Massa, we a guy and yes, Sammy B a feature. This is Back in the Day. Keep watching.
Fifra ye free nyina ye de ebedi ntia de ya fugia ne aduane saa so no pintin bi aseda o me de ye di koye mu ne de awie nyina na makuafo modem mo so won fifre so ne nya bidio nanso bate aseman ga na mu a akuafo akoye abo pupo obo wasio na so da su kache wona sam fifre ma mu nyina nya bidie nanso mpuntuduo mu aka akiri pa ekwan ben ne ebefa so ama akuafo fifre ho abanfa so de aban hyehye ne dwumadi ahodo ode bre akuafo no bo wote ase feed Ghana ye den na nkokọ ketenkete so mfa so ma akuafo so ye den we inti na hyehye dwumadi esunkwa ya to ne akuafo mo ye de bre original TV and Metro TV so dwumadi bebo akwanya ama mpanyimfo anim de ewa ba fukaye mu akire wadwen ye je akuafo ha no amane akogye mu aye e de afri aban mu mpanyimfo ho enimi ni ehia akuafo nyonko samo honto eda joada enwumre no nso kosi ne no nwotwe e original TV so saa so na da yawada enwumre no nwotwe kosi no nkono e Metro TV so akuafo mo Ghana akuafo abomoden na yempene wo.
Equiafumo is sponsored by ACAP Compost. ACAP Compost comes in 3 varieties: ACAP Compost, ACAP Compost X, ACAP Compost Plus.
The suspected attacker are among the dead. Many others are in hospital with serious injuries. The Austrian chancellor has declared 3 days of national mourning. Also on the program, U.S. President Donald Trump sends more National Guard troops and Marines to restore order in Los Angeles. California's governor calls it illegal and immoral. And Russia launches one of the biggest aerial attacks of the war against the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. I'm Nicole Frillich. Welcome to the show. At least 10 people have been killed